Hello, in this video I'm going to share with you how to work with text or TXT video, and this application here, you see that I'm rendering a video right now. I'll just point out that before the launch it was rendering videos at around 3 minutes, and right now during the launch there's so many people using it, it's probably a little longer. That's the downside of a cloud service, and that's why our Easy Video Lab is a desktop application, so that you don't have to be competing with other people rendering. But that's going to be the case here. This has been going on for about 15 minutes, and so this one right here, I rendered it, and it took almost a day yesterday. So just fair warning on that. It'll probably almost certainly die down as the launch week passes. But so you go up here and you find training here as well. I'm going to be mentioning stuff that's a little bit different than what they've got, but I just want to point that out. I want to give you some kind of real-world tips and so forth as we go through this. So you'll probably start here a little in a different. This is the message list, and so we're currently in a place which is not quite what you'd see when you first started up. You'd have kind of a blank screen there, but I'll point out that when you're in the message list here, that's what this is. You'll see either you can click on this to get new message, or up here in the right-hand corner, and you can click on that to start something new. Now, there's a couple of things that you start with here. What I recommend is you start with the battery life and the time. So just real quick on this, the battery life, if you want to create tension, you might want to go low. But I think in most cases, people are going to not want to make people feel tense. And so I recommend that you have a high battery life, but not 100%. That's just not as realistic. People, you're trying to connect with people wherever they're at, and so these are little things, but they do add up. The other thing is on time. What I recommend is if you are doing something business related, that you set the time to a typical business time. Something like 2:21 or something. And so I like odd numbers except for 13, which some people just find that number to be, again, you want to avoid any kind of tension. So I don't want to have something like 220 because it's just I just want it to feel realistic. So that's some things to think about. Now the next thing to do here is you have the ability to put in a name, and so I like to put in short names that are easy to read and understand, and that you basically, if you have a longer name or something that they're not sure how to pronounce, that can be distracting. So I want to do something like, I did Lisa before, maybe I'll do Tammy, or I don't know, something like that. And I don't know why I did Tammy. Maybe I'll do Susie, and then come in here and I want to select one of these images. I'll just go ahead and select this one right here. And so then I want to save that, and then it's going to show up right here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to create that conversation. So you can see that you have a toggle, and it'll have that name. And another reason why I like to have a short name is the longer the name is, the more that's likely to be cut off. So I typically would start off with something like, hey Susie, you mentioned the video program the other day. What was that? And I want to basically go back and forth. So I'm just going to put some dummy words in here now so that we're not wasting time being distracted by that. Susie, how are you doing? Whatever. But I would recommend that you avoid kind of chit chat. I typed in the word avoid. How are you doing? Can't type and talk at the same time. And so, and then basically what you do next is you switch over to Susie. I'm doing fine, and so forth. Now, of course, you don't want to have this kind of boring text. You want to go back and forth in there with a purpose. And so I'll show you some of the text that I've got here, and so we'll go over to that. But real quick, I want to show you that you can edit this. So let's say if I did a typo, or I'm like, it's too glib, I'm going to do something else, I'm doing okay, whatever, and I can change that and so forth. Now another thing is, you very commonly I found I was accidentally not switching back and forth. And so if I want to edit that, I can come up here, let's say for example this one, and if I can just go over here and switch it and repost it, and it's going to go over to the other side. It made a liar out of me, didn't it? So let's come back up here and make sure that's true. I can switch this over, post that. Yeah, there we go. I must have clicked the wrong button or something. But anyways, and of course, if I don't like what I posted, I can delete that and start from scratch. So there's basically those features there will help get you going. That's pretty much all of it. Now, a really important thing is once you've done that, let's go. I'll show you a completed conversation. And just some things to point out here. But once you've done that, you want to come down here and choose Save Chat before you do anything else. So after you've finished your conversation, be sure to click on Save Chat, because if you go straight to create video, it's not gonna work out for you. You want to make sure that you've saved the chat and then it's showing up in the message list before you select Save Video. After you've got it in here, you'll see that a chat that doesn't have a video won't have this blue dot next to it. So you want that blue dot. That blue dot will let you know that if I click on this little three dots thing, that's going to be gray when you don't have a video rendered yet, and it'll turn to that darker blue, or maybe it's a lighter blue. It'll turn to that darker blue when you have the video ready to go. Now, once you have that video, you want to go ahead and click on that, and it's going to load up here, and you want to play it. And then while it's playing, you can right click on it and choose Save as Video. There's probably another method I've mentioned. I saw that it was mentioned that there was another video, but I'm sorry, another way to do that. That's the way I first discovered it, so that's the way I've done it. You watch the tutorials to find any other ways to save the videos, because that is kind of kludgy. But that'll get you, all the way there. You get all your video. You do want to just make sure that you click on that Save Chat before you try to. It's unfortunate that the Create Video is there, because I did it actually 2 or 3 times before I finally reached out to them and found out that I needed to have save the chat beforehand. So that's just kind of one of the critical tips there that you want to make sure and do. Now, the last thing I want to point out is just a few tips here. Notice that I've got some long blocks here. Well, that's turned out to be not great, because the longer this is, the more delay there is. It's sort of trying to make it realistic that someone would take a little time to type that out, and so it's better to be have stuff that is closer to maybe 1 to 2 lines as you go through the conversation. That'll quicken the pace, and make the you really want these things to come up quickly enough that people don't lose interest in the meantime. The delay between this one, and really between this one and that one is really slow. And so I definitely recommend that you try to keep them and edit yourself down. Avoid going to 3 lines so that you have a nice punchy video that just kind of streams along and people can follow along with it. So anyways, that's pretty much the tips there for you, and this will get you going with text video. And it's otherwise, I've taken more time sort of articulating this out than it takes to actually make these things. These things are super fast and easy to create.